Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the data quality and data preparation. And we will also be using the Tableau software called Data Prep. So it's divided into three parts. The first part is just introduction, and then we will talk about data cleansing steps and then workshop. So what is data cleansing? Data cleansing is a process in which you go through all of the data within a database and either remove or update information that is incomplete, incorrect, improperly formatted, duplicated, or irrelevant. Data cleansing is important because it improves your data quality, and in doing so increases overall productivity. So what is dirty data? Dirty data is absent or incomplete data, or noisy data, or duplicated data, or inconsistent data. So if you have one of these or more, then the data is dirty. Example of absent or incomplete data. It means data are lacking the attribute values or missing some important information. For example, from this table, we see that the data table consists of name, last name, age, mass, and height attributes. And for James, the height attribute is missing. For Jonathan, the age attribute is missing. And for Jenny, the mass attribute is missing. So this is incomplete data. Next is noisy data. So noisy data are data that contain errors, values of data, or outliers. So this, we can see that salary, it does not make sense for the salary to be negative. So this is probably some error in recording. And it's in a way considered outlier because it's when you plot the graph, it's going to be somewhere that's not in the range with the other data or information. And this is also invalid, it's out of the range of possible values. Next type of dirty data is duplicated data. You have redundant information. As in this example, there are two lines of the same information about James, and it's exactly the same in all attributes, and also for Jenny. So if we don't clean it and we take into account both rows, the data is going to be misleading because we are calculating double, twice of each of these information. Next is inconsistent data. Inconsistent data are data that contain the wrong type of data or format. For example, this one is the age. So age is the number of years after your birthday. But then for Jonathan, it looks like what's recorded is actually the birth date. So this is inconsistent. Now for the score, for other persons is recorded as the numeric scores. But for Jenny is letter grade, which is also, again, inconsistent. You cannot compare these because they are not of the same type or not the same scales, for example. So what does data quality mean? Data quality is a measure of the condition of the data based on factors that we have just talked about, such as accuracy, completeness, consistency, reliability, and whether it's up to date. In other words, it's measuring how valid or how reliable the data is. Measuring data quality levels can help the organizations identify data errors that need to be resolved and assess whether the data in their IT systems is fit to serve its intended purpose. So why is data quality important? Think of it this way, like for food, if you put in bad ingredients, let's say your ingredients or the raw food is dirty or like rotten, then no matter how good you cook, it's going to come out rotten and bad. So it's just the same way, garbage in, garbage out. So bad data can have significant impact. It will give bad result, and then it can result in drastic consequences for the companies, affecting the performance and the decisions. Poor quality data is often pegged as the source of operational snafus. Inaccurate analytics and ill-conceived business strategies. Examples of economic damage that data quality problems can cause include added expenses, like when products suppose you have wrong data about the addresses, then that would be shipping costs involved. And not just that, that would be like loss of reputation. Maybe if the customer experienced the wrong shipment, they were probably not going to order from you again. So that would also create lost sales opportunities, or maybe also like customers will cancel the order. Let's say I ordered something and it didn't arrive because it was arrived at the wrong place. Then the customer that doesn't receive the product will cancel the order. Then the company lose on the money that they should have received, and also plus they will lose the potential to sell to this customer in the future. And it will also, it's probably possible to affect the rating of the company, like if there's a the review, and then get the bad review, is going to affect the company's goodwill as well. So that's lost sales opportunities and future opportunities as well. That's from the incomplete customer records. And then there would be fines for improper financial or regulatory compliance reporting. This is just an example. There could be many, many more. You can think of any like other examples. In addition, a lack of trust in data on the part of the corporate executives and business managers is commonly cited among the chief impediments in using business intelligence and analytics tools to improve decision making in organizations. So like let's say that if the data is bad, it doesn't matter like how good the business intelligence information system you have, you're going to end up having like a bad bad output because of the bad input. So it would be just it's just like no matter how much you try to improve the business intelligence, it's not going to improve your result if you have bad data. And then that also would ruin trust in the business intelligence of the company. Like if it's not identified, let's say you invest so much in the business intelligence and then you get the decision or the result and you implement it and then it's giving you bad result and you don't know that the problem is not from the business intelligence system but it's actually from the data, then you're going to discredit the business intelligence altogether, which is just like creating distrust in the business intelligence system. So this is where it's critical and tricky. So data quality is very important to rule out the the issue about misinterpreting the efficiency of the business intelligence system or tools. Now, just a recap of what data quality comprises. It comprises validity, accuracy, consistency, uniformity, validity. Yes. So what is validity? Validity refers to how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure. And validity can be evaluated from like the constraints. Let's say there are constraints on the data. First is data type constraints, which are the values in a particular column must be of a particular data type. Just for example, like you see the age, right? The data type should be the number of years, not the date of the birth. So that's the data type constraints. Now, next type of constraint is range constraints. So typically numbers or dates will have a certain range of possible values. Like salary, it has to be positive, it cannot be negative. Or the dates, you have 12 months, that cannot be 13th months, for example. Now, what is accuracy? Accuracy is the degree of conformity of a measure to a standard or true value. Quantitative data is numerical data, and qualitative data is categorical data. Both of these can have accuracy, like the degree of accuracy means the correctness or the closeness to the true value or true information. Next is consistency. Consistency refers to having no conflicts between the same data entry in different systems. For example, a customer is recorded in two different systems and having two different current addresses. This means that the customer's record is not consistent in the two systems, which is going to create confusion as to which one is the correct one. Next is uniformity. Uniformity is the set of data measures are specified using the same units of measure in all systems from different locales. So for example, weight can be recorded in pounds and kilograms. So if it like appears in different units, it must be converted to the same unit of measure because we are working with the number. And if we are comparing apples to oranges, it's going to give it like a bad result. Or basically, if we are comparing different units, it's going to be an error in the interpretation. So we have seen that we kind of have the idea of what the bad quality data can do to us. So that means if we do data cleansing, it's going to give us the benefits of having improved decisions or improved decision making, higher productivity, and major errors and inconsistencies are removed from our analysis. Improved revenue because of course less cost to correct the data analysis, and then better decision will result in improved revenue. So let's just go into more details of each. Improved decision making. Why is it that if we do data cleansing, then we will have improved decision making? So data cleansing will remove irrelevant data. So we will end up having more relevant data, which can facilitate the decision-making process of your business. Then it would lead to an accurate marketing strategy, and the graphs that are generated to help understand business growth. So in a way, data cleansing improves the quality of input or the data. Then it will improve the quality of decision and improve the business overall. Because as we said, good input will result in better output, right? And bad input, no matter how good the process is, the output is going to be bad. So garbage in, garbage out. Good quality in. If you have a good process, you have a good outcome. Now, next benefit is higher productivity. Why is it so? Because data is very critical. It's the most critical asset of any business. We use data to derive the process improvement, derive solution, and everything. So good data can really help improve the business and also result in higher productivity. If the data is accurate, then you will reduce the time that you need to do other things. It gets more comfortable for the sales team to target the relevant leads. If they have confidence that the data is accurate, they can use the strategy to really go for it. And relevant data increases productivity and leads to higher rate of investment. So by doing data cleansing, we are removing major errors and inconsistencies. And inconsistencies usually happen when we draw information from many different sources and combine them together. So if we don't do data cleansing, it could really happen that there are a lot of like errors, inconsistencies among two different sources. And we can also end up having redundant information as well. So in the end, like since the output is improved, then we will end up having like improved decision, reducing costs, increasing productivity, and then also improved revenue. Consistent data has better response rate, which helps to increase the revenue. On the other hand, stale or rotten data will cause a loss in revenue as the response rate is less, meaning like if we do something, it's not going to help much. Like if we follow the decision that's suggested, it's not going to hit the target because the data is bad. So it's very important to like clean the data. Scrub just means clean. Make the data clean. Keep it up to date as well. And the updating or cleaning should be in a timely manner. We should never use old data. This is very critical. So that is the part about what data cleansing is and why is it important. Next part, we will talk about the steps to do data cleansing. So just revisit like the chart, like the steps again. So we get the raw data, which can be dirty. We have to do data cleansing, and then after doing data cleansing or cleaning, we will get like a clean data set. And the steps to do data cleansing include parsing, correcting, standardizing, duplicate elimination. Basically, it's just like the names for correcting each of the types of dirty data that we have discussed. Analyze the result is the final step. So we should do all of these. So what is parsing? Data parsing is the process of pulling out the required data from a large string of text, putting into a more readable format. So for example, if you have like the data in like a long string of text like this, separated by commas, it's just very difficult to read. It's better to just classify them into columns and like categories. So these are separated into different attributes, which is include the name, the last name, the age, the mass, and the height. Next step is correcting. Solve absence or incomplete data and noisy data. So we can correct the incorrect data from the set. For example, if we see that this is out of like, it doesn't make sense. it may be in the range or not if we don't specify that we want the age range to be less than, let's say, 200. But anyway, it just still doesn't make sense. So we can see this and we can do something about it. Maybe either remove it, like remove this person, or replace this with something else, which we will discuss about it later. But at this step, it's just like try to identify which data doesn't really make sense, that we need to do something about it. The next step is standardizing, solve inconsistent data. So let's see, we have 3 things of the same name: Bangkok, BKK, Grungtep. If we don't fix this, the system will separate these like into different categories, and then it's going to be misleading. So this is something that we also need to clean. Inconsistent data, like it's recorded with different names. This is probably coming from different record, like different set of record or something. Is recorded, the same thing is recorded with different names. Now next is eliminate duplicate data. So for example, Joe appears on both lines. We have to eliminate one. Then analyze the result. Recheck the data after cleansing process. So after we do everything, we have to check and see if there's like, if it requires any further improvement, or are we completed or done. And then after like rechecking, then we can use it for analysis, and then we should also like check the result whether it's valid or it makes sense or not. So in summary, the steps for data cleansing will include parsing, correcting, standardizing, and duplicate elimination. And what problems do they solve? Parsing will solve noisy data, and then it would result in improved quality or improved validity of data. So noisy data are data that is not valid. And correcting would just solve the problem of absence or incomplete data, and it will help improve accuracy. Standardizing will solve inconsistent data and will result in uniformity of units and consistency of like the same data record. Duplicate elimination will solve duplicated data and result in accuracy and consistency as well. Okay, so that's it for the steps, and then next would be the workshop part. Okay, next we will talk about the software side or the workshop. We will be using Tableau Prep Builder. If you haven't installed it, just go back to visit the first document that I posted in Google Classroom about installation. That's also the link for Tableau Prep Builder. Just download any version that you could get and use the same key for as the key for Tableau. And our data file is in Excel, so we can open the Excel and then just take a look, browse through the data. you will see that there are some problems, which include missing values, inconsistent data, and duplicated data. Let's just go and take a look at the Excel for a bit. So this is the Excel file for the raw data. You can see that there are some missing data over here. And then you can kind of see that there's man and then there's male. So this is inconsistent. And let's see what else can we spot from here. A lot of missing data and this seems to be possibly a duplicate data. This one again. Yeah, because this is the number, right? So if that's the row number, this is definitely a duplicate data. Okay, so let's just see how we can clean the data. So we see from the Excel file that we have missing values, inconsistent data, and duplicated data. So first, let's just open Tableau Prep. So Tableau Prep is here. And then connect to the data in Excel. Doesn't open up for me. Close this. Tableau Prep. Builder. It's a bit slow. Let me just close it and then open it again. See what's happening. Okay. It's just slow. So open up Tableau Builder, Prep Builder 1.1. You might just want to get the same version if you encounter some problem. It's loading, taking quite some time. Connect to data and do Excel. It's just like Tableau, wherever you save the data. In this case, it's data prep. And then is small, customers, raw. Okay, so it's loading. Then we have already opened the file and then select file. After you import the file, it will show it will be shown in the box as in the figure. Let's just look at data wrap. So data, this is Tableau. So I just close this first. So this one, it shows here, mall customer. It's the file name. And then in the interface, click data and select clean step. Use data interpreter. And then clean with data interpreter. And then click add a clean step. Or you can click over here. And let's just watch some video.
Welcome to this video on the cleaning step in Tableau Prep. You can download the packaged flow file underneath the video to follow along in your own copy of Tableau Prep. We're working with data for best-selling books. Data can be unready for analysis for a lot of reasons. If you need to do things that have nothing to do with shaping the data, like pivoting or aggregating, or combining it through joins or unions, then it's likely you'll need to perform some cleaning operations. Cleaning in Tableau Prep covers everything from removing fields, changing data types, creating calculated fields, and more. Cleaning data in Tableau Prep is done in a cleaning step in the flow. From the previous step, click the plus icon and choose Add Step. The default step is a cleaning step, which appears in the flow as a bar. When we're on a clean step, below we see the profile pane and data grid. Each field in the data is represented as a card in the profile pane. We can rename fields or change their data type by interacting directly on a card. If we open a card's menu, we see many other options. Let's go through brief examples of each of these. First, this table names one field is an artifact of the union. We don't need it. Simply select the card and go to the menu, choosing Remove Field. Next, we'll rename a field. Here, Table Names is actually the bestseller list, so we'll double-click on the name and enter List instead. The information about which week's worth of data we're looking at is contained in the File Paths field. This is another field generated automatically by Tableau Prep. We want to keep only the date portion of these file names. Let's do some cleaning operations to get there. We'll open the menu and select Custom Split. For the separator, we'll enter a period and we'll choose to only split off the first field. This will look for the period and keep only what occurs before it, essentially trimming the file extension for us. We now have a new field, File Paths Split 1, that lacks the file extension. Let's remove the original field, File Paths. Note that in Tableau Prep, we can remove fields even if they're used for calculations or splits. And now we just have the new split field. However, this new field still says ABA bestsellers before the date. We can use some of the built-in quick cleaning options to address this. We'll open the menu and choose Clean. These are the single-click options available to speed up common cleaning processes. We'll choose Remove Letters, and then once again go back to the menu, choose Clean, and we'll follow up with Trim Spaces. Now we're left with just the numeric date, exactly as we want. Let's rename this Week. Tableau Prep has not recognized this as a date yet, but we can set the data type here by clicking on the icon for string, ABC, and choosing date instead. Let's also change the data type for the price field. We'll make it a decimal number. Note how the view updates from showing the details, gray bars with text, to the summary view, blue bars binned on axis. Next, let's take a look at filtering. For some data types, such as date, we have the ability to filter to a range of dates or a relative date using a filtering interface. Numeric fields, like rank, also have a filtering interface for a range of values. For most field types, filtering is done simply as a calculation. For example, we could filter the list field to only values containing nonfiction. But we'll undo that. Over in the title column, we realize that there are some similar values. For example, 12 Rules for Life and 12 Rules for Life with a subtitle as well. We know that these should actually be considered the same value. We can use the Group and Replace feature to combine these values and replace them with a single value. In the menu, choose Group and Replace, and we'll pick Manual Selection. For more information on the other options, check out the video on Group and Replace. In the editor, select the first value we'd like to group. This will become the value that overrides the others. Now, to the right, we'll pick the value that should be grouped with that first value. We can repeat the process with Enlightenment Now and any other titles that should be the same. The paperclip icon indicates which values have been grouped. When we click Done, those values are combined and replaced with the primary value we chose. All records containing those values will be updated when we run the flow. Finally, let's say that our standard is for books with two authors or an author and an illustrator. We use the word "and" instead of an ampersand. Let's use a calculation to fix this. We'll open the menu for the author field and choose Create Calculated Field. If we name this Author, it will simply update the field rather than creating a net new field. Very handy. We'll enter our calculation and click Save. If we search again, we see that there are no more ampersands. We can also directly modify a value. Simply right-click and choose Edit Value, and then make the desired modifications directly in line. This will update the one value on every row where that value appears. It's great for fixing specific things, but for more programmatic changes, a calculation might work best. It can be easy to lose track of what we've done in a cleaning step, since it can contain so many types of operations. Annotations are added to cards that we've worked on, and the cleaning step in the flow gets annotations as well to show what's been done, with icons for each of the main types of cleaning. Even more powerfully, the changes, here to the left, shows a log of everything that was done in that step. If we want to undo a specific change, such as removing this field, we can delete it without losing everything we did afterwards. If we want to modify a calculation, we can right-click on it in the Changes and edit directly. Note that when we click back into a change, we're going back to that data as it was at that point. To see the entirety of what we did in a cleaning step, we need to make sure we're clicked onto the last change. To keep the flow organized, we can create a cleaning step at any point. This starts with a clean slate of no annotations and no changes, allowing us to perform cleaning operations that make sense together in a single step, with other steps for other sets of operations. Thank you for watching this video on cleaning and Tableau prep. We invite you to continue with the free training videos to learn more about using Tableau.
Okay, so that is it. So we could have like just did the add and clean step. So we can go here, add clean step. Now from the column age, annual income and spending, let's just take a look. I'll just go remove this first. Then we see that that's the null, null, and null over here. So there's like gender, age, that's a null. There's a null in the age, that's a null in the annual income, and that's null in the spending source. So we want to replace the null with 0 for the age. There are two ways. You can replace the null. Actually, we can replace the null with some value. We could use the average value, or in this case, we're gonna try to make it 0. Because if it means like annual income, it would make sense for the null to mean maybe that person doesn't have any income. Or for the age, maybe that is just like very, very young, then it's like age is 0. So let's see. The age null, we want it to be 0. So we'll select the ... and then select create calculated field and then custom calculation. Create calculated field. custom calculation. And here we are just going to enter some formula, and we want to make another column for the calculated field. Just make it age replace, and then plug in if null, meaning that if the data in this age is null, then make the age 0. Otherwise, it would just remain like the age, okay? So age replace is what we are going to name it. Age replace. And then if null, and if null age means that if the age is null, we will make it 0. And then apply. Save. And let's see. Age replace here. There's an age replace created in the first column, which the null becomes 0. This is 32, 33, 32, 35. This somehow it just redistribute the value. So you get this one. So now the age is replaced by 0. If it's null, then we can do a similar way to the annual income and spending score. So again, click on the triple dot for the annual income, create calculated field, custom calculation, and we will name it annual income replace. And again, if null, annual income. So this we are going to make it 0. And then apply. Save. Okay. So we have another column up here in the front, age, annual income, replace. Now next is spending score, replace. Create calculated field, spending score, replace. And then if null, spending score, then we will make it 0. Some error here. Okay. So we have another column, spending score. So we are done with like the age, annual income, and spending score, and we don't want the old data. We can remove it. So I'll just remove the age. Right click, remove, and then annual income. Right click, remove. Spending score. Right click, and remove. Now next we are going to collapse and combine male and man together under one name. You can choose male or man. So go to gender column. Here. And then select clean. This is another type of clean. Go to gender. Select clean. And then group value, common characters. Group value, not clean, I'm sorry. Go to gender, group value, common characters. So now from the raw data, there are many types of gender in men and women. And so this was just grouped like inconsistent values together. So select male to be the main category and select the other two to be for grouping them into male. So let's do this one appear a lot. So that's male and man. So I'll just choose this male, click the male, and then male 2 members, and then that's man as well. To be combining into male. Then done. Everything is combined into male. Now next we will do the same to female. So do the same process, just repeat the steps. Now we click on woman, and then that's like female too. So we click on woman and female. Click on this, group values, common characters, and male, female, and woman. We're just gonna keep them female. So click done. That's also girl. Group values. Female and girl. Done. Now we're left with only male and female now. Let's just check around here. It's all like female. Got these. Maybe click on this. It would be male. Next, we will apply the process to remove duplicate data. Click Add from Clean. So Add, and then Aggregate. This is going to combine duplicate data together to one item. So click Aggregate, and then it would look like this. After that, just say select all the fields are on the left hand side. Click Control or Command to select multiple fields, except for the number of rows. This will check for duplicate of each of these and then combine them. So select and drop into the field. So this will group them together. Aggregate 1 becomes 5 fields, 200 row. From before, let's see what's happening. At first, it was 5 fields, 206 rows. And after we do the aggregate, it reduces to 200 rows. So that means six rows are duplicate. So now we have done the removing the duplicate, and then we will click Add, and now we will output the information. So Add, and then select Output. And then we'll get this new table, which is like the revised cleaned data. And in case that we want to replace null values with not zero, but like average, then we can go to Excel and calculate like the average. And then instead of putting zero, we would just put the average value. We will talk about that. Let's see how do we export the value. So you want to export it into like a new file, and then output type. Somehow like I cannot make it into Excel. Let's try again then. If I make it Excel, it's like exclamation value. Error in output, a worksheet name is required. Let's put like a worksheet name. Clean mall data. Let's see if it works. Then there, let's try this, run flow. Okay, let's see if it does like give us, it's in data sources. Maybe we'll change the location. How do I go to data sources? File, which the name is output. What I had to go to like search, and it appears that it's on the desktop, the output file. So this is the new output file that has been cleaned. So I'll just go and save it. Save as, then you can just rename it. Anything like clean mall data. Because when we did the rename, it would just rename the worksheet. Okay, so I do have a new Excel file. Somehow if it doesn't work, then you can export it as a .csv, and then it's going to be a text file. So that was replacing with the zero value. And we can do like, instead of replacing with zero, we can try to find the average using Excel, and then replace it with the average instead, like of the null. So in case that we want to replace the null values with average instead of zero, then we have to calculate the average value from Excel. Then we need to make like the filter. Click the cells to create filter. So when we want to like analyze and manipulate the data by fixing data, there are different ways. For the null value, we could perhaps just delete it and eliminate the null, like the rows and the row entry with the null value. Just delete them, or we can replace them with the average value of like averaging of the other fields or other attributes. Or we can just replace it with zero for some of the value. And this would require, if you want to calculate like the average, then it will require us to work in Excel. So let's try and just see some examples. From row 10, column C, let's just go to Excel. The Excel file is mall data. Why is this on desktop? I wonder. I just saved it on desktop. So we just go back to the file, the mall data, which is in this one. And we want to create like a drop-down filter. All the column, and then we click filter. Then it would just give us like the drop-down. What is this? Anyway, so for example, this field is blank, the age is blank, but we see that the annual income is 19, which is just like 19,000 probably, and the spending is 3, so we just filter this to be 19. Just do 19, and then, well, if we want to just like look at this one, not the spending, we want to average by the field that is 19 to be representative of the age. Then we see that it's like this field here. Then we want it to be average of this 3, for example. Then it's 44. So we can like choose 44 to be the value that we will replace for any customer with the annual income of 19. So this is an example of how we use Excel to calculate the average value that we want to replace it with. And this is just what I had just shown. And for example, for the annual income, if the annual income is missing, then we could go about like doing the average of the age. For example, this one is missing for the age being 18. So we just go ahead and do the average for 18. And then we get 57 as the average. And next is if the spending score is missing. For example, this one is missing, and then the we could be related to the annual income, which is like 24. So we can do average of, oh well, this one they are doing average by the age. So we can try the average by the age of 25. And then you will get the value that is 23 for the spending. So, yeah, just forget about this. I think we'll just go to do the quiz part. That's going to be in Google Classroom.